Hey guys, so for today we are going to be looking at Module 6, Week 1, Day 3, and your activities, your assignments will be to complete an author's purpose page. There will be a vocabulary page, and then there are 2 reflection questions that you will be doing on Canvas. So, our goal for today is I can identify the author's purpose and explain why they wrote the text. So how will I be successful? I will reread looking for clues. I will look at the text features. I will ask myself if the author wants to persuade me, give me information about a topic, or tell a story to entertain. So we've looked at author's perspective before, author's purpose before, and author's purpose is the reason an author writes his text. The authors usually write either persuade, inform, or entertain. Sometimes the author may have more than one purpose. So if the author is trying to persuade you, they're trying to convince someone of an idea or to try to get that person to do something. If they are informing, they want to give facts about a topic. And if they are entertaining, they want to bring joy and fun to the reader through a story. So we're going to be figuring out the author's purpose by thinking about the genre. Most of the time, if the text is nonfiction, it's going to be either inform or persuade. If it's a fiction story, it might be to persuade or entertain is going to be the main one for fiction. So after we figure out the genre, then we're going to be asking questions about what we read to try to figure out why the author wrote this. So we're going to watch a video on how to locate details in the text that will help us identify the author's purpose.
I found a perfect patch of swamp grass with tall, tender shoots. It was such a beautiful spot. I whipped out my ovipositor and went to work poking tiny holes in the blades of grass. I knew that laying my eggs inside would help keep you safe from hungry fish. By the end of the day, I had laid over 800 eggs. I was so exhausted when I finished, I just sat down and died.
Nice job. So authors typically write with a purpose in mind. Let's look closely at what's happening in this part of the text, and maybe we can get a clue to the author's purpose. Dahlia the dragonfly's mother is remembering the sequence of events or the order in which things happened the day she gave birth to Dahlia. What's the first thing she did?
Dahlia's mother found the perfect patch of swamp grass, a place where the grass was tall and tender.
She remembers it as a beautiful spot, and she needed to find tender shoots for a specific reason. Text says, I whipped out my ovipositor and went to work poking tiny holes in the blades of grass.
What's an ovipositor? Well, I looked that up. It's how female insects lay eggs.
That's right. The narrow tube attached to her body. She pierces the surface and deposits eggs inside something. Where did she choose to deposit them in this case?
She laid the eggs inside grass. She poked tiny holes in the blades. Blades of grass are very thin.
True. And she has a reason for choosing that place. What does the next sentence tell us?
I knew that laying my eggs inside would help keep you safe from hungry fish.
Smart, huh? Next phrase gives us a clue about how long Dahlia's mother had been busy working.
All day.
We don't know what time she started, but it could have been all day. And I was surprised to see how many eggs she laid.
Over 800 eggs.
That's enough to make anyone tired. She was exhausted. What was the other result of laying so many eggs?
Well, it said she sat down and died.
She actually died?
Some animals and insects do die after giving birth. Dragonfly may be one of them. So the author has told us a story about how Dahlia the dragonfly was born. Do you think the author's main purpose was to tell a story about a mother and a daughter?
I don't think so. It's not really about their relationship.
Do you think the author was trying to persuade you of something or to argue about a certain point?
No, because this is more about science.
So, we were reading all about how Dahlia came into being. What might have been the purpose the author had in mind?
Well, the author is giving us information so we can learn about something in nature.
Right. In this passage, the author is informing her readers about a natural process of how dragonflies lay eggs. So we could say her purpose was to inform. Good work.
Okay, so that was a video showing how the author or how some students and a teacher found the purpose of this page. They found out that the author's purpose was to inform. It was giving information about how they lay eggs. So, what is the author's purpose of this page, page 20 and 21? First, I will reread page 20 and 21, and I'm looking closely at, and I notice that the topic is the life cycle of the insect. So, paragraph 1. Good morning, or good evening, larvae, nymphs, and insects. This is Bob Beetle welcoming you to another episode of This Is Your Life Cycle, the show that follows the life cycle of everybody's favorite class of animals, the insects. Each week, we take our cameras to the hot spots of bug world to follow insects as they begin their lives as eggs, hatch as nymphs or larvae, and molt into fully developed adults. Tonight, we are coming to you live from a swamp, hidden by darkness under the branch of a weeping willow. It may look peaceful from here, but beneath the surface of the water, our special guest, Delilah, has spent the past 2 years fighting for her life. So the text tells us that we're going to talk about a dragonfly, and there were 2 words that I didn't know, and fortunately, they were bold, and at the bottom of the page, it says larvae are insects that have just hatched and are not yet adults. Molt is to lose their outer covering like skin or feathering. So the author is writing this text like a game show. Is this story for entertainment? I don't think so. I mean, there's a little bit that it could be for entertainment. It seems like, with the talking characters that I might be entertained by that. Is the author trying to persuade me or talk me into believing something? Well, definitely not. There's no persuading here. Is the author trying to give me information about a topic? Well, yeah, it's giving me information about the life cycle of a dragonfly. So when I look at this, the author's purpose is to inform the reader about the life cycle of a dragonfly. All right, let's look at page 22 and 23. We're going to reread it, look at the illustrations for information, and then ask ourselves, what is the author's purpose on these 2 pages? So paragraph 4. That's right, folks. Delilah has slipped through the jaws of hungry predators like frogs, fish, turtles, ducks. Breathe easy, my friend. Delilah is one tough little nymph and has managed to escape death by living under the cover of rotting leaves, dead logs, and thick swamp grasses. Word from the pond says she became quite a fierce little predator herself. Why, just last week, the Daily Buzz reported seeing Delilah chomp away at an unsuspecting tadpole. So we have on this one, it looks like a newspaper where it says the Daily Buzz. Delilah makes nab too bad for Tad. The bold word, unsuspecting, it means if you're unsuspecting, you do not notice something that is happening or may happen. So the tadpole did not know she was coming. So I'm trying to think to myself, what is the author's purpose? Was the author trying to tell us how he feels about predators, the animals that eat other things? I don't think so. Was the author trying to make people afraid of predators? I don't think so. Was the author trying to show information about a dragonfly's predators? I mean, it could have been telling us a little bit because it told us about the things that might have ate Delilah, the frog, the fish, the turtle, and the ducks, but I don't know if that's the whole thing. Or is it a story about how Delilah becomes a predator? That seems like it could be it because it does give me information and that she's the one that's eating the unsuspecting tadpole. So when I look at those things, I feel like the author's purpose could be two things. Remember, in the beginning, we said sometimes it may have one purpose. I feel like for this one, the author's purpose is to show about the dragonfly's predators, but also to show you how she could become a predator as well. So for me, I feel like this one is to inform because it's giving me information, but also to entertain a little bit. It's giving us the story about Delilah. All right, so this is your job. This is what you will be doing. You're going to reread page 35. Look at the diagrams in the labels. So on this page, you can see the diagram of a dragonfly nymph, and then it has the labels of each of these parts. And you're going to find what is the author's purpose. You're going to pick A, B, C, D, one of those, or if you feel like it's two. And then you need to answer this question at the bottom. This text is full of facts, so why do you think the author chose to write the story to sound like a game show? So why is it that they wrote it this way? After you do that, you have your vocabulary page to work on, and then you have just a reflection questions on Canvas to finish up.